Good evening, Monarch fans and Bruin fans, and welcome to another edition of Sports Talk with Rags here in Season 3, Episode 85. And tonight, here with the guest that we have on tonight, it's another edition of Monarch Mondays here on Sports Talk with Rags. Is whenever we have a Monarch alum come on, and here it is Monday night, and tonight's guest here is ODU baseball alum Zach Rutherford. Zach, how you doing this evening?
Rags, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be, but doing well, doing well.
Sure, no problem. Appreciate your time. And yes, I think let's see. I've had a few other Monarch alums, Kevin Gibbs, Marty Plank, and then also have had Matt Quintrero on, as well as Finney a couple times. So glad to have you on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's start at the beginning here with the. I know you came on last Monday there with KB and Alex Abby and talked about being part of Bruin baseball, especially your senior year. But just talk about talk about to the listeners out there about growing up around the game of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. I guess I started getting uh, put a uniform on with my sister when she was playing t-ball. She was probably out 6 or so. So I was 3.5, and I was out there with everybody running around playing t-ball out at Western Branch. And we all grew up. We had that core group of guys that we ended up graduating with from Western Branch. That, I mean, we played from the time we were in t-ball through the time that we graduated, whether it was at Western Branch Rec League or with the Drillers growing up. Yeah, I mean, those are some good times from, especially one thing I really remember about baseball growing up is that coach pitch all stars. That and that was just, those years were so much fun. And of course, it helps when the team we had was too. But yeah, I mean, growing up, that coach pitch team, and then the Drillers, what we had there, so many guys that ended up going on to play collegiate baseball, professional baseball, and so on. I mean, I was definitely fortunate to get to be around a great bunch of coaches growing up, and definitely a lot of really, really talented players.
Yes, I mean the thing is, I know with me moving here in '87, and my brother, playing Western Branch, and that has been one consistent thing here. Through Western Branch, the competition and the consistency of baseball, not only in our local area, but then throughout the Tidewater area. I mean, yeah, it's just been a hotbed of not only baseball athletes but also basketball and football right here in our backyard.
Yeah, I mean, the obviously Western Branch is a ton of athletes, not just baseball. I mean, basketball, football, you name it, track. I mean, they got
Right.
it in themselves at Western Branch. But yeah, I mean, so many athletes in this area. It's definitely a hotbed for recruiting and a bunch of sports, not just baseball. And I mean, you see it. So many colleges come and recruit in this area, and typically the ones that do recruit really well here typically have good collegiate teams when they
Right.
play. But yeah, I mean, the talent in this area is just it's so good, and it's so competitive, which is always good because you need that competitiveness.
Yeah, yes, and then I guess what sophomore sophomore summer was probably the time there in high school where you kind of got the, I guess, freshman sophomore year, where you started going to camps, to be seen or play the showcase route and look to play at the next level once high school was over?
Yeah. In high school, it was really just two places that I was genuinely interested in. One was Liberty, and the other was ODU, which
Right.
I was lucky and fortunate enough to be able to get a scholarship opportunity and go play there. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I was going to both those colleges. I was going to their camps pretty much religiously every fall, every summer. I was going there, getting around those coaches consistently, them able to see me progress throughout the years definitely helped. And then, yeah, I mean, playing those showcase circuits on the summer, they come and see me. But yeah, I mean, those camps I would say were very beneficial for me because I just went so consistently to those camps. They were able to get a really good look up close and personal, and really build a relationship that you can't really form with a player, or it's harder to form with a player.
Mm-hmm.
You're not having that communication face to face and often like that, more so when you're just kind of watching a game from afar on a showcase tournament type thing. So yeah, those camps were really, really good for me.
Yeah, and and then also with getting the opportunity to play at Old Dominion. I mean, I know that with you being close friends with one of our nephews, I mean, here was freshman year of the fall. I mean, you have practice at any time. So like one Saturday practice, and Elizabeth and I had to take you out to Liberty later later on after practice. But I mean, once you get on campus, there there in the fall, it's go time there with prepping for the spring, but no time to rest. It's starting the grind of getting into college baseball there, right there at Jump Street.
Yeah, absolutely. Those for a lot of freshmen, that freshman fall can really be a big wake up call, with just how demanding it can be time wise. And really, if you don't manage your time well between baseball and classes, like it can really get you. But one thing I will say is, in high school, and I think everybody that we graduated with and that's gone through the program, is with the amount of work and practice that we had while we were at Western Branch, having those early practices, after practices, we'd have days where we'd just get together on our own and go practice. But I mean, we were practicing a good bit, so it wasn't as much of a culture shock once we got there, because we felt like we were prepared compared to some of the other guys that maybe went to high schools that didn't do as much.
Right.
But yeah, it's a grind. I mean, you're lifting, you got to eat well, you got to do your homework, you got to be at practice, you got to be at early work, you got to do late work. Like it's it's a full-time job when you're there.
Right. And then there with your your living quarters there at Old Dominion. I mean, whoever had the idea of those places right across the bud, to rent out to the student athletes for the baseball team. They're geniuses, because the baseball players cannot complain about getting stuck in traffic and being late for practice.
Yeah, that's the truth. You have zero excuse for being late to practice. That's definitely that's it's such a nice setup. I mean, you don't have to worry about driving through Norfolk trying to find a spot on the streets. I mean, you just walk the street and you're at the field, you're at the complex. And I mean, as much time as we would spend at the field and the facility anyway, I mean, it was a picture perfect setup for baseball players at ODU.
Yeah, and also when you came in, that fall 2014 and spring 2015 season was your freshman year. I mean, they're the upperclassmen. Connor Myers, PJ Higgins. So and then also you came over there with Justin was with you, and then they were from Virginia Beach, but the Cinna boys. And Turner. I mean, so definitely a lot of familiar faces that you had seen, they're in high school, and now you were in college as their teammates.
Yeah, I remember getting there, and he'd probably give me a bunch of crap for saying this because he doesn't take compliments very well. EJ Higgins, he was such a big influence for me when I got there as a little freshman. I mean, the way he would go about his work, he was extremely talented, and he was a great guy too. But he was somebody that really kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes of how to really become a better infielder, specifically in the middle. And I mean, he wouldn't take it easy on me either. I mean, he'd let me have it if I was messing up, it was good because I mean he expected the same out of himself, so it's not like he was holding others to different standards. But yeah, those upperclassmen when we got there, they really helped show us just how to go about our business, how to do things the right way. But yeah, him, and then obviously, like you said, Connor Myers, he was one of I don't even know how to say it. He's just the best outfielder I've seen in the outfield. The amount of ground that he covers just unmatched.
Right. Yeah, and and then reviewing your the Monarchs freshman year schedule there, your freshman year 2015. I mean, starting off down there at Conway, they're at Coastal Carolina, and the first game being Coastal Carolina, and then also down there was Maryland, and Brandon out of Nansemond River, was playing for Maryland at the time. So just talk about their your first you know opening weekend. Starting off there at playing a round robin there at Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Because when we went down there, I guess in the spring of 15, it was actually, I'm almost positive, it was their opening it was their opening game in their new stadium. So that was pretty cool because they had a pretty good crowd that was there that Friday night, even though it was fairly chilly out there. I mean, still early February, so it's not the warmest in Myrtle Beach still. But
Right.
no, that was a pretty cool experience. And then on that Saturday, we played Maryland, and that's when I got my first college start
Mm.
out in left field. So
Right.
that was fun.
Yeah.
But it was a good weekend. And then I think the next day we ended up. I want to say that year we played Canisius on Sunday.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a good weekend and a cool experience to be able to play there. Their opening weekend of their first games in their new stadium.
Yeah, and I'd like to piggyback. Everybody knows you as a middle infielder, or they're definitely majority of your time at Old Dominion. Definitely a shortstop. But you talk about your first start being in left field. I mean, it's definitely a situation where hey, you just want to continue hitting, and wherever the coach can put you in the lineup, you're ready to go no matter where you're playing.
Absolutely. Growing up, used to hear it all the time. Like the more the more positions you can play, the more valuable you are to your team because you give your coach more flexibility, more options, and at the end of the day, it just opens up more opportunities for yourself later on down the road, which ended up being very beneficial for me because it was the first way I was able to get on the field at the college level, which was cool because I think I ended up getting a couple starts there left before I really kind of started playing short majority.
Gotcha. Yeah, and and then later on that year, I mean, I don't know why they moved to an afternoon game, but having UVA come to play you guys at Harbor Park, and and being a night game, I mean, that was over 6,000 people there, and it's the biggest biggest attendance for a collegiate baseball game here in the state. But just talk about, here you are, you know, ODU uniform right here in downtown Norfolk, and on the other side of the field is UVA. So just talk about that that experience, getting an opportunity to play at Harbor Park.
Yeah, it was those games where we would play UVA at Harbor Park, or I think one year we played Tech.
Yeah.
Um, but those are always so much fun. Getting to play on that field while you're in college, I mean, it's such a great experience, from the batting practice you get to take to just playing in front of a huge crowd like that. I mean, it's so much fun when you're playing a game and you just hear that buzz going on throughout the stadium of just the constant chatter. Um, but yeah, it's such a unique atmosphere when games are played there, because you have so many UVA or Tech fans in this area in Hampton
Right.
Road. So you do get that mix of ODU and UVA fans. So those games were always so much fun, and such a such a good time to be able to enjoy while you're there.
Yeah, and then with playing college baseball, I mean, after the collegiate season is done, I mean, you have to stay sharp, you know, with your game. So, I know that they have the Tidewater Summer League, and a handful of you guys played in that league, after high school there to get ready for college. But you and Justin at first, were signed up there to go up to upstate New York. So even though your spring season is done and semester's done, hey, yeah, you might have time to catch your breath, but then it's time to go whatever league you're assigned to play the summer.
That year, it was me and Juddy were going up to Elmira, New York, to play in the summer league up there. And funny story, I ended up having a stress fracture in my foot, kind of
Mm.
towards late part of the season that year. Ended up continuing to play, but the reason it kind of came up is because of your nephew, Colin.
Yeah.
Um, at the time, he was having a bunch of back problems, so on, and
Right.
he was seeing a back doctor who happened to help out at ODU a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
they were kind of conversating a little bit, and Colin goes, "Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Zach's throat's really bothering him." And the doctor looks at him like, "What are you talking about? His foot's not bothering him." So that came up, and then it kind of sidelined me for the summer league, which, looking back, it definitely would have been a great time and an opportunity to go up there and play and continue just to get better. But as always, it's never a bad thing to be able to work out and hang out around the home.
Right, right. But then, coming home, I mean, then it's really, with being a student athlete, it's really no time to rest, because while the other student athletes are at home, or even the student athletes that are coming in, they're working out, they're sharpening their game. So even with coming home, I mean, you gotta stay on your routine to get ready for when you got back on campus there, your fall of your sophomore year there in fall of 15.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the guys that took their work seriously in the off season or in the summer, over winter break, whenever those breaks are, you can really tell the guys that come back where they're ready to go, they're physically ready, or the guys that kind of just sat back, did nothing, didn't really put the work in. So it shows one way or the other. It's
Right.
definitely always want to be on that side of been putting the work in and prepared to go.
Right. And then 16, you got the opportunity to go play at the Cape and be named to the All-Star game. And I know in 2011, Elizabeth's cousin Carter Capps, he got the opportunity to go to the Cape. So, tell the listeners out there about that summer they're playing in the Cape.
Yeah, I mean that summer it was not just so much fun for me playing baseball up there, but it did so much for me after college as far as like professionally what I had the chance to be able to do. But I mean, going to college, you hear about all these summer leagues, but then you hear the Cape, and the
Right.
Cape, like it's just it's the summer league you want to get the chance to go to, and if you do have the chance, like you're going to go and try to make the most of it. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go up there. I got to play for the legend Ron Polk,
Yeah.
who is they call him the grandfather of the SEC
Right.
college football. So I got to go up there. I got to play under him for a couple months, and again, I got to be around some extremely talented baseball players. And while I was up there, I took advantage of that opportunity. I played really well. Like you said, I got the chance to play in the All-Star game, which was really cool. And I mean, there's just so many scouts while you're up there that if you do perform and you play really well, like you're going to get seen and you can really take advantage of opportunities and put yourself on more of a national stage.
Right. Yeah. So then when you came back, your junior year, and that year, I definitely remember, taking a half day and going out to Harbor Park, and that's when you guys played Tech, and Grant was on the other side, but Old Dominion. I mean, you also played with Culver, who was out of Tallwood, so definitely a lot of local kids, that you were teammates with. But just talk about your junior year, and just how that coming off of the Cape summer junior year, and then springboard, what was waiting for you after college.
Right. Yeah. That those Harbor Park games were so much fun. Like you said, being able to play with everybody that's local, like growing up playing with them, playing against them. But yeah, I mean that junior year, it started. You kind of started to see a little bit more uh, scouts that would show up, whether it was inter squads in the fall or games going on in the season, and I was just trying my best just to keep a level head at the end of the day. I mean,
Right.
because it can be a lot, it can be overwhelming, but at the end of the day, you're still going out there and you're just playing baseball. Like it's the same game you've been playing your whole life. There's nothing different. There's just new people at the games watching. Um, but yeah, I was fortunate to have a pretty good season again my junior year. And it ended up working out where the Rays drafted me in the sixth round. So I was really fortunate, and it was yeah. My time at ODU was nothing short of great, and to this day, I will always say Coach Finwood is hands down the best infield person I've ever been around. Like if you are an infielder, you should want to be at ODU because he is by far the best.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of small world how with the game of baseball, because when Mike was at William and Mary, he was a young coach at VMI, so, and one of Finwood's players at VMI was Ike, who is now, been coaching at JMU. So definitely a small world here around the game of college baseball here in our state.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like somehow, no matter where you go, everybody's connected in the baseball world. At some point, somebody either coached them, they played with them, they grew up with them somehow, some way. Everybody in this area is connected somehow.
Right. Yes, and so did you even know where Princeton, West Virginia was? I mean, I only knew of Princeton, New Jersey, and I didn't even know that there was a Princeton, West Virginia until you signed with the Rays, and that was your first stop.
Yeah. So my initial reaction was I was talking to the scout that I was talking to throughout the draft, and he goes, "Yeah, so you're assigned to Princeton," and I was like, "Hey, like I'm going to New Jersey, okay, like cool." He goes, "No, no, 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 you're going to West Virginia." And from there, I started looking. I was like, oh, "Okay, it's a little bit different than what I guess, but no, it was good."
Right. Yeah, and and then even playing professionally. I mean that's your job is to play your job's to play baseball, but hey, while you take a rest, somebody else is working out to come take your place next year. So it's like like KB says it's a grind no matter what level you are playing actually any sport.
Absolutely. I mean, and you start to see it kind of at college how everything it's not it's not like youth baseball growing up where it's just like okay you get to play like no when coaches in college like that's their livelihood like they need to put a product out there to win and same thing
Right.
professional right like
Right.
whether it's the coaches but especially the players like if they don't perform they don't play and if they don't play they don't have a job so I mean at the end of the day you really have to one take care of your body and honestly take care of like the mental emotional part away from the field
Right.
really well because if not I saw quite a few guys where it really wore on them and then they didn't really perform all that well on the field.
Yeah, and that is pretty much especially nowadays. No other no matter what level you're on is definitely here with the mental part, and to keep level headed and to and I know that you coach you coach now, and it's just definitely there for the players to win at the game of life.
Absolutely. And that's something I really enjoy getting to do. I coach a 14U team right now. But it's so much fun just to be able to give back to the game of baseball and be able to not just coach kids like you were saying, but really prepare these guys for later on down the road in life and just help them become better people, better young men as they keep growing and getting older. Because at the end of the day, baseball is just a game, and at some point, it's going to end for everybody, right? So, it's I always like to tell the kids like it's about the things kids or the things you're going to remember when you're done playing are the relationships you had with the kids or the guys that you played with,
Right.
and be a good teammate. Be a good teammate because that is something that sticks out if you're not.
Yeah, and so after that rookie ball season, I mean, you got to play Bowling Green, Kentucky, and with having Q on, he was managing the Bowling Green Hot Rods there when Tampa first went there, and he had to talk to the Western Kentucky baseball coach because the Bowling Green uh, baseball stadium wasn't ready to play, and Finney, was at Western Kentucky, but just talk about here real quick how you got to play Bowling Green and then also there at High A there in Port Charlotte.
Yeah, Bowling Green was a lot of fun. I mean, like you said, we were super close to Western Kentucky. The housing we were actually set up in was apartment housing with other Western Kentucky students.
Oh,
So
cool.
very close, like around the, I guess, college, you could say. And then the baseball in that league was a lot of fun. You do a lot of traveling. That's
Right.
really the first time where I had that 13 and a half hour bus ride through the night from
Oh.
Kentucky to, I think it was Beloit, Wisconsin, or somewhere up there. But no, I mean, that league was a lot of fun. Those bus rides that's where you really start to form those relationships going to that. But yeah, and then Port Charlotte, that's almost like a complete 180 from Bowling Green. I mean, Bowling Green, you kind of get some good crowds there, a lot of
Right.
crowds throughout the league. Then you go to Port Charlotte, and obviously the one step up from where Bowling Green was as far as levels. But I mean, you're lucky to get 45 people there. You're
Mm.
you're playing, you are playing in the heat of summer, and the last thing any fan wants to do is come to a game when it's 110 and 100% humidity.
Right.
So a lot of empty stadiums, but at the same time, it was a lot of good baseball there, a lot of talented guys there. We got to play at a bunch of really really nice facilities, with being all the games were at spring training facilities throughout Florida. So that was nice. That, and then the travel being fairly close to other teams was very nice. So yeah, I mean, that league, it has its pros and cons as any.
Yeah, and Zach, so appreciate your time for coming on, but sorry for going a little over, but definitely a lot of a lot of stories to share here with where you grew up into college and then your few years of playing professional baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me, and as always, go Monarchs.
Yeah, yes, and just a final word of any high school baseball player that's out there that's listening to this and wants to play at the next level. Any words of encouragement there for that ball player?
Yeah. First, I'd say be a good teammate. Be a good teammate. Be a good person. Um, and then after that, continue to put the work in, because results will come if you are consistent and you're diligent with your work, and you put the work in. You go through the grind. Results will pay off. You just got to keep working. Be ready for your opportunity, because it'll come.
Right. Well, hey, Zach, and real quick, you did, even though you got drafted after your junior year, you did go back and finish that degree, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
It took me a little bit. I didn't finish it till I was done playing, but
yeah,
I have my degree. I have my degree, so I
yeah.
did.
Right. Well, that's awesome, and appreciate your time, and go Monarchs, and see you around.
Absolutely. Thanks again. Go Monarchs.
All right, fans. So that was Zach Rutherford with us today. That's it.